So then this was the second half, or second piece, for my series. And this was obviously, like I said, I did the photo shoot one day, but this is kind of like the other broken down bit. And this was the focus of down the path, in the woods. So this had an even darker background. As you can see, or even on this video, it looks completely black, but actually, obviously, it's woods. But again, I wanted to look at that kind of like long exposure, with the brightness right in the middle, centre of the frame. And I definitely did get some good shots here. I wanted to kind of, my model, focus on like moving her arms around and kind of having some more natural looking shots than kind of posing, if that makes sense. Because obviously she's still posing, but they look a little bit more like unstaged. And that's what I wanted to go for. Again, like I said, I took quite a lot of photos for this one. Just over 50, I think. Again, I wanted to have as many as I could so I could experiment and play around. If I needed to take things, have another photo, I could put it in, etc., etc. These are really nice. I said about how they were really crisp images and quite sharp. I think that was achieved through that kind of the whiteness like put on top of the dark background. Again, they were a little bit grainy, but I could, that was easy to change. These three here actually weren't too bad. I didn't have to take much of the grain out of, obviously I used this one, but I didn't have to really take the grain out of them because it actually kind of looked quite nice on the image. But when I did that, I did kind of take it out a little bit. Not too much though. I did use my 75-300mm lens. I could have used a different one, but I wanted to kind of stand further back and get a longer shot, and I think they looked really nice. Just approaching it from like a further distance, I think, helped to kind of make that more shallow focus on my model. I then just did a design idea, like I said before. I wasn't really focusing so much on the image itself. I was just focusing on how I'd place my illustrations, my light, all that kind of stuff. Again, breaking it down, as you can see there, just some kind of quick notes of what I wanted to include. So I started off by focusing on the dress. I felt that the image originally didn't have so many flowers on it. You can see here how like it just looks a bit blank. I think you could add so much more to it. So I did add some extra, it's probably easy to see it here, but you can see that I added some extra flowers to the photo because I just think it like fixed that blank space. But you could also, it still has, that kind of blank block colour that I wanted to have. I kind of filled it with the smaller yellow ones. I felt if using the big ones were a bit tricky because they looked a bit fake. But, the smaller yellow ones didn't look fake at all. I think they looked quite nice, as you can see, like here. It's a bit boring. As you can see here, like how it, I've blended it in, I've darkened it. So I'm trying to make it like as part of the photo. And then once I did that, I just kind of focused on like manipulating my lighting and just the saturation of the image. I didn't want to make it too colourful, but I did want the dress to stand out more. So I kind of focused on changing the background to a bit of, bit desaturated. I liked the brown, like the kind of like crisp brown colour. I think that looks really nice, like the crispness of it. Again, against the model, looks really nice as well. And then I did my butterflies. Like I said, I kind of just copied them across because it just saved me so much more time than having to draw them, and it kept that consistency across the photos. I placed it on the hands and one on the leg as well. Again, blurring ones that were closer in the frame and having some scattered across as well. I also added the shadows as well on this one, on the hand and the leg too. And then again, I looked at my lighting, and this time I wanted to kind of make the light as part of the image. So here you can see she's like levitating it in her hand. It also did in my design idea. I mentioned how I wanted to have it kind of like on top of her hand. Again, that she's looking at it as well, so it makes it feel like it was always part of the image. It wasn't something edited in, but obviously it was. But I think, like, obviously these aren't the proper printed ones, so I think the light is kind of drained a little bit. You can see I don't know, it doesn't look as good, but on the proper photos I printed, it really does demonstrate all the stuff I talked about and what I wanted to achieve. But I'm overall really happy with this image. I think it has a really good link to the other one I did. I think they look quite similar in a sense. Obviously this one's a little bit darker, but a little bit like the way she's looking up, and the butterflies, the just everything kind of has like links to each other. Again, this is like another good photo as my second image for my series.